when it comes to grace and grit, for me, this is really personal. And this is not something that I just came up with out of the thin air because it is fancy, because I saw it somewhere. No, vividly, God told me, I am releasing the grace and I'm releasing it now. The grace for next year is not being released next year. It is being released now. So if we can take a claim of that, if we can be able to tap and partner with God in that whatever has failed from the beginning of this year up to now, we do not take the rest and say, you know what, let God accomplish everything, but we are like, we still have the hope. Like Joshua said, give me my mountain. At 95, I'm still as strong as I was at 40. Give me my mountain. That I'm still enthusiastic as I was in January, that I can still complete this year in a mega way and in a bigger way. So we are here to be able to go through that, the grace that has carried us this far, and then the grit that we need to be able to accomplish certain things in our lives. And I am so excited that this is going to be life-changing, not just for you, but for me. I am here to learn. So ladies and gentlemen, I want us to join our hands and welcome Coach Mole, Coach Fifi, and Coach Ben. I want us to be able to go through a moment where we talk about grace in reference to this year, and be able to talk about relatable stuff, the things that we have gone through. And then right after that, we have, oh my God, it's going to be a marathon of goodness after goodness. So join your hands, please. We felt that need to do this, and we have these, the ladies and gentlemen have worked tirelessly behind the curtains. For everything that you see happening, they have worked tirelessly behind the curtains and believed God for every life that we have impacted and all the journeys that we have walked with people, the schools that we have gone through, the corporate organizations that we have gone through, together with all the coaching community. And that is where we want to begin this talk and talk about grace, okay? And how far we have come with the grace. Please welcome. All these people are public speakers, so they are motivational people. They know their way around speaking. But I think I will start with my own story as we get into this talk about grace. Because one thing I have known, and I think I've said so many times, I started this career in a place where no one even knew what I believed in. No one knew my beliefs. No one knew I was a Christian. No one knew. And God had systematically told me that, you know what? Go out there, change lives. Do not label yourself anything. Just go out there and be able to intentionally and genuinely hold someone's hand. And for those of you that have followed me for some time, I think I have more Muslim following or Islamic following. And we embrace each other, and they're very liberal. And even when they got to know about my beliefs and my Christianity, they actually loved me the more. And they believe in God, and they pray, and they love their God, and all that. And so in this transition, for me, it has been the grace of God to be able to come out and be able to share my belief and the God that I believe in, on top of the personal growth and personal development. And the stories that I have gone through, God literally telling me that you could never have made it if I was not with you, if I was not part of this story. And indeed, I know there are so many times where I have wanted to throw in a towel. There are so many times where I felt this road is quite, number one, lonely. Personal growth journey is very lonely, by the way, even if you have a community, because it is about you and how far you want to go. And so you're like, you know what? I think I should be able to step on the brakes and just chill. Like everyone else, like everyone is chilling. Why can't I chill like everyone else? And then a call comes at midnight and someone wants to strangle themselves or commit suicide, and then God reminds you there's still work to do. There are people that have not heard, and there are people whose lives have not yet changed. Wake up and do the work. Shoot that video, show up, go for that speaking engagement. So for me, it has been a reminder. This year has been a total reminder of the grace of God at work in my weaknesses, in the things that I could not have done on my own, that God has been able to take me through. And right now, I am super grateful that I'm alive only because of His grace. You already introduced yourself, so we want to just dive in. Grace, how do you understand grace?
Thank you so much. When I think about grace, you know, I've heard about grace when it's preached in church, the undeserving, you know, all that. And I was like, yes, there has been that part of grace in my life where I've stepped into spaces that I didn't really expect. You know, have you ever dreamt about something and you're like, if I get a chance to hug Hilda, to some people that has been a dream, you know? Like if I only can sit in the same space with her. And that was me with certain spaces when I joined the Accelerated Mentorship Academy and I wanted to grow. I had the desire to grow. Like I told you, I'm an emotional healing coach. It's not just a title. I want to see people healed. I desire to see people work from a point of love, not just to prove a point. No, but you know, when you are healed. So I desired to go into certain spaces and share this message. I desired to be on radio. I desired to be on TV. And I was like, God, I want this message of healing to reach far. But I didn't know. Connection in Gasiziraba. You know, or you have a burning desire, but I didn't have the connection. But something that I understood about grace this year, the other part of grace, is grace doesn't make us lazy. No. Grace is not about laziness. I realized that I'm going to do my part in my own human understanding, that this is it that I'm going to do. And I did. And some of us, we have tried. You have done your very best this year. Like she said, I've done things this year and I'm like, Molly, I'm pushing on. Like the grit we are talking about today. I'm not stepping on the pedal. I am continuing. But again, because of the human limitation, you realize that, you know, everything on the puzzle, you are adding. And sometimes you hear a motivation speaker and say, it's because, you know, if you want to make more money, this year you've not made more money because you didn't plan well. And you're like, are you sure? Are you sure? Really? You know? And sometimes they talk and you're like, I wish. They only, you know? So the sleepless nights, the planning, and again they nail it. You were poor planner. Like, okay, I think. But I realized that all that you can do, but I was telling her in a message that for me, grace has been like the fuel. Like I felt like grace has been that fuel, accelerating things to happen. That today, like most of you see the flyers, those are some of the platforms I wanted to be a part of. And I didn't have any connections in there. And I just decided to show up. I'm like, go put up the video, go talk. You are invited for free. By the way, no genda and no yogenda. And from those free things, grace looks, I feel like sometimes grace has been like an intervention for me. Like it has been like someone has just walked in and like, I'm speaking on your behalf. I'm seeing the commitment. So for me, my element of grace, it's not about laziness that, oh, grace, it's such a mala. Some of you have been asking for grace or kunaba. Mukama singompe chisane naba. But grace enables things that you feel like you can't do, or things you feel like you've done your very best. And then grace walks in. And lastly, for me, I was sharing with Mami Blessed on our platform today in the morning that grace has been Mamanyi abalimako ekitooke nga kigenda ggwa empaji eyo gye bakiteekako bwe kiti kati awo oluzungu lutono nyaawo
empaji bagiyita batya eyo
empaji But whatever it is, you understand.
Yes.
I feel like this year, God gave me that deep revelation.
That's mind-blowing.
Yeah, of grace for me. I felt like there's been seasons in my life, I'm losing it. You know how you feel like you've done everything and things are not still adding up? And when I'm about to throw in, God, I feel like the enkondone weight, and it's like, you are not falling. You are continuing.
Wow.
Like that. And some of you have been able to see me, and some of you have reached out, please mentor me, push me. And I'm like,
I wish you knew.
I wish you knew that also.
Nange ndi kunkondo.
And you leave a sick child at home and you show up here and you are all smiling. Grace.
Yeah.
It has been that grace that has been holding me. So for me this year, grace has been a divine intervention.
And chikondo.
And enkondo yange, and also a voice, a
Wow.
whisper.
Yes.
I felt like Grace speaking, like, we are making it.
Yeah.
And guess what? We've made it.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Ben.
Yes, please.
Grace.
Grace. Praise God, everyone. If there is anyone who has witnessed God's grace this year, I should say I'm number one on that list because it's not been easy. I'm a Christian guy. I grew up in church. I'm still in church. So one thing God has taught me this year is that whatever we ask or think of, it is within us already. I will explain that. It's like Uncle Tim buying a very nice car, a Mercedes, running 260 kilometers per hour, but you're riding it on a northern bypass, southern bypass at 20 kilometers per hour. But the power horses are super exceeding 20 kilometers per hour. Okay.
I hope we have understood that. I hope we have understood that. Please go ahead.
All right? Like everything that we desire is already within us. Like the grace of God is already sufficient.
Abantu bano kye bategeera bagamba nti jiwo omuliro as in nga egusobola etambula erina that means naye nga otoddeko obutoozi.
Yes.
I know.
And for us, we are watching, we know that that car can run at least 240 on the southern bypass or northern bypass. You understand what I mean? Like the people outside there, they can see that in you.
They know.
But it's only you who cannot see that.
Yeah. Yep.
All right? This year, I didn't know that I could go through what I went through. Those were a few people who know the story about losing my mom. I faced God's grace. Like, I don't think anyone here knows, like, okay, there are certain things that I don't share because they are so spiritual, and if you say such things, people will
It's okay.
put question marks.
Give them to us.
So,
we will decide.
If it is prayer, I prayed for her. If it is fasting, I fasted. And this is not the first time I've prayed for sick people to be healed. I asked myself after her passing on, I asked God, did I pray wrong? If it is fast, I fasted. If it is to pray, I prayed. Moving around the world, praying in tongues and all that. I did that. But God decided to take her. All right? But I want to testify and say that God wants your character to match with your calling. Yes? If you say, I want to do this, there is a certain preparation God is going to take you through. And every one of us, we are called differently. If you are trained to be an SFC guy, you're not going to be trained as an askari, all right? So expect
A deeper training.
All right? If you want to grow in the things of God, if you want to be an apostle, God is not going to train you just like an...
Like what? Like a deacon?
like an usher.
You people are starting to give processes and anointings.
But what I would like to say in a nutshell is that whatever we desire, the grace of God is already sufficient in us. It's just, if there is no, if you're in a bedroom and you have not seen, this is Apostle Mukisa who said this, if you're in a bedroom and you're not seeing the bed, it's because you haven't switched on the light. It's just a matter of switching on the light, then you will see everything. If you haven't seen this and that, it's not that those things are not available.
They are.
They are available. They just need you to turn on or switch on the light.
And guess what? The switching on of the light takes faith.
And God doesn't do it for you.
It takes faith to say, when I switch on, light is going to come. And when the light comes, I'm going to see things the way they are. Wow. Grace. Grace has carried us through.
Wow, what a blessing. So for me, Coach Hilda, when you talk about grace, when you told me about the theme that we have this time round, I first of all touched my own personal life. I have been around, I have walked with you, I have been there when I do not know where we are headed, but I have had that small light of conviction that I'm supposed to walk with you, no matter what it is. So for me, I have experienced grace in such a way that it's divine enablement. These are things that only God is able to do. And you can only say, this could only be God. You cannot attach and say, you see, I had qualified as a coach, and so, yeah, I would be on radio every Monday and Tuesday. There is no way you can say that I would get TV interviews, because I am one of the top media personalities in the nation. There is no way you would explain that you are the person looked out for team building and capacity building sessions, and you deliver higher than expected, apart from God himself speaking for you and enabling you. But I've experienced grace in such a way that there is a place where I have tried to do things, and I have put in all the effort, I have done all the work, some people call me Coach Plan, and I've done all the nitty-gritties. Oh yes. But then it has come out evidently that keep on doing.
Yeah.
But I have a path, and it is short.
Yes.
So for me, this year, I was ordained to become a pastor. In my aspirations, in my resolutions, in my deepest dreams, this is not something I've ever desired. However, from the beginning of time, I have been so rooted in church. Yeah, my grandfather is a canon. I have been going to church. I even went to a theological school and studied my counseling from a theological school. So I have been on the journey of discipleship. I have done this effortlessly, like doing it with all my heart. It's just good to serve God.
But not to arrive somewhere.
I did not pursue that, let me serve God, such that one of these days I'll be among the people who sit at the front and I am the pastor. No. I experienced grace when my pastor was saying, this is it, you're going to do it. And then 3 months down the road, I have a database of 180 people. Wow. And my church is having people that are walking in. I think we were 62 people last Sunday. And this is 3 months down the road. So I look at this, and it is only grace that is possible to bring it this far.
Yep.
In my plans this year, when I was doing I was designing my vision board, I said that I would love to travel. However, I didn't have any destination. Like, apparently, as the months were moving, I didn't see myself going anywhere. But then in a week or two, we had to travel to Malawi, a trip fully paid for.
Yep.
And for me, this was grace. This was God enabling things, telling me that dare to dream. Yep. I'm ready to give you the world.
Yep.
Dare to think about it.
Yep.
I'm ready to give it to you. Dare to do some work. So I looked at some of the things I have been able to plan, and God has fulfilled them. But I've also looked at things that I've not planned for, and God has actualized them.
Yes.
Do we have people here who have a full year of rent paid for 2024? I am here. That is a testimony of grace. Like, how does someone call you, just come and meet me, and then they tell you what I carry upon my heart is God convicting me that you don't need to pay rent 2024. And these are things I did not go ahead to be like, let me work so hard and experience this. But I've seen God divinely enabling things for my sake.
Wow.
We have not fallen apart.
Wow.
And I loved it when you said it's grace and grit.
Wow. Yes.
Because I didn't throw in the towel.
Yes.
At one particular point, things have been hard.
Yes.
Actually, things are still hard.
Yes.
But how I have made it here, the testimony is it has been grace.
Wow. Hey. Grace. How many of us are saying that we are here because I am here? You're talking of yourself and saying, I am here because of grace. Otherwise, maybe I would have done a quarter of this year, or maybe I would have done not even a quarter. There's sometimes I look at what I go through, definitely my entirety, and I'm like, oba kenkana wakenandi koze. I don't know, like I can't measure. But I'm like, you know what? God, you have kept me on this road of hoping against hope. Like putting one foot in front of the other, just like I said, faith. Because while you are practicing grit, when we talk about grit, and we are talking about grit as the endurance and the passion with which we do things. Because that sets you apart. The reason as to why, I will give an example, when Mordecai had to be remembered in the books of remembrance, is because he had done something. He had done a good. And now God was making the king sleepless. That was grace intervening, whispering into his ears. And it's like, what was this man? What payment was given to this man? Like it was reference to the passion and the grit with which he did his work. That even when he was at the gate, even when he decided to fast and pray, he was putting on sacks with ash. He was like, no, I'm not going to fast like any one of you. I am going to lament. Like when the Bible says that everything you find to do, do it with every single fiber of your being. Some of us are on our jobs. Some of us are in marriages where what could have brought your husband, or how God would have intervened, or grace would have intervened to your husband, would have been the passion and the grit with which you are working your marriage, with which you are present in your marriage as a woman. And this man is like, no, mukazono yankolachi. Mukazono nga taina che yali yankoze. And bases on that okukola obulungi. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Oh, yes.
I'm an employer. But I will tell you, there are people that I employ and I will have them on my mind. And I will have sleepless nights. How many of us are here and employers? Employers. I don't know if it treats you like it does, but sometimes I will have employees who become like children. Like I want to think about them, their families, how they are going to survive, how I need to increase their income. But guess what? The speed at which it will come, it will be because of the passion and the grit they have displayed on the other side. And so whenever I look at that, I'm like, what do I do? Right now I am thinking, bonus. There are people that need to get bonus. End of year, there are people who need special appreciation. No one appreciates. Now, I'm not saying that we need to work in our capacity for grace, but again, there is something that we need. What Coach Molly said, that I do my part. That even when I don't feel like waking up, I will wake up and get out. That even when I don't feel like doing something, I think Ben is my producer, and so many times I have sat on that set and he has told me we are going, and I'm like, I am not ready. I am not ready, because you people don't know what happens this side. I'm like, I am not ready. Like, I have gone through a week, a marathon. I have, a sick house, sick people, and I'm down, I am weak, but again, I must show up. And I'm like, I put on my clothes, sometimes I will pump myself up, drink some coffee. I will tell Robin, go bring me coffee. Simani, bring me chocolate croissant. And in my heart, I'm like, I'm pumping myself up. And then, before you know it, I am seated down. I have produced a message. And guess what? When people watch that message and they're like, my life was transformed because of that message. And in my heart, I'm like, I wish you knew what I was going through while I was shooting that message. And for me, that is grace. That it carries me where in my weakness, it becomes the strength that is perfect. Hey,
I was actually thinking about what you have said, because oftentimes when we are defining grace, we say that thing undeserved. It is not true. Grace actually doesn't have any... Okay, it's a portion of it that it is undeserved, but there is something more to undeserved. There is an effort, there is a part that actually influences grace to intervene. You see, when God was sending us his son, Jesus Christ, you could think about that as undeserved because we were filthy, we were sinners. But for the grace of God to intervene right now where you are, at the portion of you being promoted to the next office, the next level of work, it is not going to be the blood of Jesus that is going to come and say, please, promote this person. No, your promotion is going to come from a place whereby you have come out as the most excellent worker. And so your bosses are in agreement. We need to increase this person's salary. Because you haven't thought of being increased, for you it comes through as grace. But on the part of your boss, it is effort that you have done and they are appreciating it. And so they are extending the grace because there is that part that you have played. So we think about the divine, undeserved, and that undeserved
In
part is only for what Jesus did. That was to give himself. But for us to be able to enter into spaces of influence, if you shoot those videos and keep them in your phone, no one is going to know about you. Grace is not going to intervene. If you go to work and you are scrolling through TikTok and you're not delivering on your boss's work, grace is not going to promote you. Your bosses are not going to sit and say, but this person, they have overly not delivered, but let us take them to the next office. Clearly, no one. So there is a part for us to play in grace, and I think I love it that we are now talking about the grace.
Yeah. I would like to come in a little bit. You ladies, you're having a lot of energy. I don't think I will match your energy. But this is, as Hilda was talking and Fifi adding on, there is something that has come in and I'd like to talk about it. Lots of people, especially the youths, I happen to fall under the millennials. But thank God for Uncle Tim. Some of us have not been raised by our biological fathers, but let me tell you, they are what we call destiny helpers, okay? And once you find one, stick to that one, all right? So I want to thank God for Uncle Tim that I've learned a lot through observing, especially through observation. Just watching, and you see how he handles things, and number two, what he says, all right? So there is a problem that he helped me understand and start working on it. That is, I don't know whether you've heard about the millennial question, whereby the ladies and gentlemen, the youths who fall under that category, we like to be understood so much. Entitlement. We want to work within 1 month, 2 months, you want salary increment. And after that, you want to move from one job to another. I tell you, okay, you're not hearing this from an elder man. I'm a young guy. So hear this from me. It is wrong. The entitlement and those things do not work. These people want what we call value. And now, that's where the grit comes in. If you want to work within 1 month, 2 months, let me tell you, this is my first time to stand on this stage.
In how many years? I know.
In how many years?
Behind the curtains.
10 years behind the curtains. All right? 10 good years.
Of faithfulness.
Faithfulness. Serving Hilda and Uncle Tim. All right?
He knows why I'm laughing because I think it's 2 years for me. So me, I served 8 and I was redeemed. So he's also been redeemed.
So it's my first time to. Do you think? Okay, let's say 2 years. What would I speak? Okay, what would I present to you? I think 0. There is a time when I went to her when I had just joined the radio station, working for Spirit, and I asked to be a sitting presenter, and she said, and I thank God she said no, because after 5 years, by then I said, nga she's a hard woman. But after 5 years watching myself and growing, I said, thank you for saying no. What would I say? Now, let's put that aside. Us wanting, having entitlement, wanting money in 0 minutes and, making it all in a night, you understand? Let me give you an example. In COVID-19, Uncle Tim knows. I think I was the most hardworking person because of what was going on. A few people were laid off and were asked to come back later. So I had to wake up at 5, all right? Pick everyone from their homes, bring them at the station, all right? Do what I'm supposed to do, all right? That's when we had started the TV. Pick every worker from wherever they are, come and set up the TV station. In the night, after when I'm done with what I'm doing, personal work, what I'm paid for, put them in the van, drop everyone back home for 1 full year. 1 full year.
Great.
And now, let's say if we are workmates, and you who is working 2 hours and you go home and you want to compare yourself with me, and you speak around that boy is being favored. Aren't you ashamed of yourself? All right.
Wow,
okay?
Wow. I know.
Certain things come with work.
Yes. And with time. Yes.
Someone was admiring someone's shoe yesterday where we were. He was a young man and I was like, ebintu ebimu bijja na myaka.
Yeah.
So I cannot admire Tim's car right now. You understand? So certain things come with time and certain things come with work. I will tell you, on July 8th, that's when my mom passed on. Okay? It's a long story. But I want to tell you, I posted that video on my Facebook. Uncle Tim was making a speech. We were graduating freedom seekers too. And I tell you, I have attended all the classes. How many classes are there?
He's a professor. Yeah.
I've attended all the classes, but I hadn't graduated. But at some point, I had to graduate, all right? But on that day, 8th July, it was a Friday. I came in late because I passed by home and I found her, she was not okay. And I sensed it that today must be that day. And that moment is very funny. You can sense it, eh? So I came in late and Hilda tried to call me, where are you? And I was like, I'm on my way, I'm coming. Then I came in, and as Tim was giving his speech as the event was getting done, he was making certain statements that were so profound. And he said that if you have an opportunity to visit that one person in hospital, please visit them. And if at any point a friend loses someone, please, and you have a time, please go and be there as they are escorting their loved ones, the burial. And at that moment, I had received a phone call that my mom had passed on. And I was on that camera. All right? Let me tell you, those ones who were there, and some individuals are here, this is what we talk about when we say grit, passion, perseverance, consistency.
Yeah.
When we talk about these things, some of us have lived, and we are testimonies of those things. So when God gives you the grace, it needs also the grit in you to apply some grit. I was on that camera. We filmed with Emma. I think Emma is behind there. He didn't know anything. No one knew anything. I filmed very well. There is a friend there. She called me even for dancing. I danced very well. I told her that I'm not fine, but she insisted. Then I was like, okay, I will do it just to make you people happy. All right? So I did what I had to do. All right? Because this is who I am, all right? I'm production. In commas, okay? But what am I trying to say is that when we talk about grit, are you really passionate about what you do? Or you just...
Can you go an extra
Can
mile?
you go an extra mile? These people got to know after people had graduated, everyone, after cutting the cake, I packed everything. Hey, Molly is here. She knows the whole story. All right? But, okay, if you're there, and for example, we are two workmates. As I said, you work 2 hours, 3 hours ago, and you go home, and the next day you come. You're very good at your job. And we go for, we want salary increment.
Appraisals, yeah.
Appraisals. Do you think, who will she consider first?
We are sorry, sir. You are the one.
Okay, what I'm trying to say that you need to go
an
extra mile and do
Give
something.
value.
Give value. Value. My fellow youths, please, you go to work. These people who are preaching the grace is sufficient. Yes, it is sufficient. But you need to do the work.
Yep. Oh.
Let's crown it up. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Listening to them and knowing the parts of the story, I was telling him when the flyer came out that literally you are grace yourself, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You are the theme yourself. When I like, what are we going to talk about? Like, no, but...
Let's talk about you.
Yeah, because I've seen him and
Yeah.
I'm like, what a man. What a man. So I just want to conclude with this scripture.
And he's single, guys. Nkaisi zao.
So we don't want to leave this table without the scripture. 2 Corinthians from chapter 12. I'll start from 8. You can go and read the other part. It says, 3 times I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. This was Paul having a thorn in his flesh. And I want to, because I'm an emotional healing coach, I wanted to bring that element in. That each one of us, we are here today. And you could be having your own thorn that we are not seeing. And guess what? Your prayer is, Mukama gutwale guno omugugu, chinzijeko, watandi wati, chintamye Mukama. Nepe yesala sigwa
We are
so
binding.
disaba. You've fired, you've gone to the mountain, you've done everything. I'm sure by the time Paul mentioned this statement that I pleaded 3 times, I pleaded with the Lord to take it away from me. Here the second verse, 2 Corinthians 12:9. The Lord said, the Bible says, but he said to me, this is the Lord answering, but he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. It didn't say, yes, omugugu ngenda kugutwala. Because that's what most of us are waiting for. And when we talk about grit today, if we asked you, some of you today, why you are not doing what you're supposed to do, why you threw in the towel, why that relationship didn't work, why you're not showing up for your purpose and for your calling, for that business, today, what are you going to tell us? Problems. That breakup. Singa se breakup on the singa andi wala nnyo. Some of us, isn't it? Yes, the loss. He went through a bad loss because mom got sick for some good time.
For a very long time.
He treated his mom, I was there. It was a year. But the man kept going to work and delivering.
Yeah.
You know? So some of us, the emotional distresses we've experienced, naffe nno bitukubye bakwano, ne tukyaliwo. Tetulina gye tulaga ati. Ne we bikomawo. Tetulina gye tulaga. So some of you, these things have taken you off course. That some of you already this year in your head it is branded. Omwaka guno kufuusa ekyaka. In your words. You know? But I want to tell you like God told Paul. You're going to walk. You're going to crawl. You're going to limp. Ogenda kukola kyonna ekisoboka oba kwewalula n'eriggwa lyo in your flesh. We are going to continue. Like I've told you, we've showed up in these spaces and we've laughed with Coach Fiona. Ng'abaana bali waka baradde. I showed up ng'omwana wange yeekubye engalo ng'olwala luvuddemu. Ayatuteeka ne bamutunga Ngaya to conduct a round table here. And I came, conducted it very well. Some of you gave me good feedback, how I'm confident, how I'm so joyous. And inside of me, I'm like,
I wish you knew.
You know,
I came with my thorn.
I came with my
But his
thorn.
grace is sufficient.
But the grace, so as I crown it, I want to tell you that grace is there.
Yeah.
There is a song that I love listening to, and one of the punchlines in it says that as you are walking and holding onto the rope, and you are about to let the rope go, grace will come in. As you are about to let go and you are almost giving up, enkondo eri gijjukire nti gyeri emabega ekukutte for 2024.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And it's not letting you go. Not letting you go. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd love you to give a round of applause to these ladies and gentlemen. I felt it necessary that we share that sometimes you'll think you're the only one that is going through the ups and downs of life. You are not the only one. We are all in the same journey. We are on the same earth, facing the same things. The tides are high and low sometimes. But guess what? If you know your God, you will do.
Those who know their God shall
for those
do
that know their God.
great
But again,
things.
the grace keeps carrying us through. And I hope that you can hold on to the same grace and pray through the same grace and still show up and still be happy and still nothing should rob you of your joy. Okay? So we love you. And from us to you, have a great evening.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.